Hello guys, and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be doing something different, which is we're going to be doing a one-on-one VOD review with a pretty new Vex player. They've played about 30 games in rank so far across all their accounts, with a 45% win rate right now on their main account. So this is a Plat 2 player, so that's going to give us a good kind of foundation to work with across everything else. So how are you doing today, Reds?
Doing pretty good. Pretty good.
And how long have you been playing Vex for?
About 5 days now.
Okay, cool. And what do you like most about the champion?
The ultimate. Definitely the pick potential with ultimate.
Okay, and what do you think is the hardest thing for you?
Laning.
Okay.
Matchups are definitely something I need to work on.
Alright, perfect. So, yeah, Vex is a really cool champion, and she has very minimal losing matchups. As of right now, she's got about 4 losing matchups in Masters Plus for mid lane. And most of those are just based on wave clear and roaming, which is Twisted Fate, Galio, and then other champions like Kiana Zed that are typically banned. But the first thing we're going to do here, Rise, is we're going to go and identify our matchup. So we're playing Vex, and the enemy's playing Kassadin. What quantities define Kassadin as a champion?
His scaling with his ultimate based on his level 16.
Okay. The things that we have to play around in this matchup are his passive reducing our damage, which makes it a little bit harder for us to all-in him. The main trading tool that Kassadin's going to take advantage of is a Q. So if he ever walks up to Q and trades with it, we have to consider the magic shield might mitigate a bit of our damage. And finally, once he has access to level 6, that's when he gets the jump very often, which means that he can basically bypass our fear unless we're holding it on personal space.
Yep.
So the other thing that we can do is once we've identified what makes up a champion, we also need to quantify, is he a melee champion or is he a ranged champion?
Melee.
So because he's a melee champion, even though he has access to Q as his main trading tool, everything else is kind of melee. Like he has to build up charges for force pulse, which means you're going to be able to auto him very consistently, and autos are not mitigated by his magic shield. So something that you'll see very often in games like LCS or Worlds is people will pick champions and then they'll go longsword into Kassadin purely for the auto damage. This is kind of one of the only ways to stick damage. And once we've done that, we also go on to the next step, which is itemization. So what is the difference between a Kassadin that goes Doran Shield and a Kassadin that goes Dark Seal?
Dark Seal gives him less sustain, Doran Shield gives him more with the health recovery.
Alright, so Dark Seal is a more aggressive option because it gives ability power and it has access to refillable potion, which means it's gold efficient. But should Kassadin ever be able to play this matchup until level 6?
No.
Not really. So he's forced to go Doran Shield here. And the way D-Shield works is it gives passive regeneration, but every single time that you auto him, it's going to proc an effect called Endure. So restores up to 40 health over 8 seconds. So every single time you hit him, it's going to trigger this Endure effect. So when you hit him multiple times in a row, you're getting the most value out of your poke. But if you hit him once every 8 seconds, he's basically healing your entirety of your auto back for free. So when you're playing into a D-Shield, you need to make sure that when you're going for poke, that it's meaningful. Because if you're trading one auto and you're taking 100 damage back, he's eventually going to out-sustain you. Now, the good thing here is that you are running Corrupting Potion. So Corrupting Potion means you're going to be able to contest wave state, and also means that regardless of the trades that you take, you're still going to be able to bully him out of lane. The issue that most Vex players have is they're not very good with resource management, or they're unable to poke people out of lane, then they just run out of mana, and then the sustain kicks in, and then suddenly you're like at a loss about what to do. So that's something that we should probably consider a little bit. Now, the next thing that we would normally take a look at after we've identified like the champion and the skills is Summoner Spells plus Keystone. So we see that Kassadin's running Teleport, which means that he's going to have really good macro control, and we're running Ignite. So the main difference here is that we do have additional kill pressure in this 1 versus 1, and we're definitely capable of killing the Kassadin 1 versus 1. It's just that's not what Kassadin wants to do to succeed, because his win condition is just a scale, right? Because once he hits level 11 and has Everfrost, your options are diminished. If he gives you a chance to solo kill him or do anything else like that, he's not playing correctly. So taking TP here is really good. And then what's the other thing that we see? Keystone is Conquer. What is Conquer used for?
He wants extended fights with the Conquer.
So he wants extended fights, and it's also a really good scaling rune. Now, if he was like 100% focused on winning this lane phase or surviving, what Keystone could he run instead?
Complete footwork.
Exactly. So he's already made a decision that he wants to play for mid to late game. So we have a window of opportunity, which is he doesn't have as much sustain as he normally would, and which is something that we have to play around. Now, because he has TP, that means if we fail our execution, what happens?
He TP's back in the lane, and I'm screwed.
Exactly, because he's going to have a resource management advantage.
Yeah.
Because you won't be able to do anything after that. So we're going to do from pretty standard checklist here. As a mid laner, you kind of just want to make sure you're watching the map to see where they're starting in the jungle. So if our jungle's starting on bot side, we automatically know that they're pathing towards top, which means it's weak side bot. So do we want to fight for crab? Is that something that we want to do? And if we know where the enemy jungle is as well, at which we see Vi starting bot side, we know that she's also pathing towards top side. So in this situation, Vi versus Shyvana, who wins 1 versus 1?
Vi.
100%. So who wins Kassadin versus Vex?
Vex.
And who wins Camille versus Graves?
I would say Graves, but Camille is
So it would be
Camille
Graves
has
purely
one.
because he has range advantage, he's got wave clear advantage. So in this situation, we've already classified that we are going towards topside with both jungles, and they're 100% going to fight for this Scuttle Crab. So Shyvana should never be doing this in the first place because we have a winning mid lane, but we don't have a winning top and we don't have a winning jungle.
Yeah.
So if we lose the game at Scuttle Crab, it's because we're just not thinking straight. Vice versa, as a mid laner, we want to make sure we get priority to help in the situation that this is winnable. Because we are playing towards that topside crab, but it's something that we should not be doing because we do have 3 scaling champions, which is Xayah, Camille, and Shyvana. So at this point, you're already playing technically incorrectly. So at this point, yeah, so you should be standing here. You want to be on your front wave, and the reason why is because you want to pressure him off. And it's fine for you to take auto E-auto combos because you proc electrocute. Like, worst case scenario, he hits you with the Q back and you lose 45 HP, but you're going to do 130 off of your auto E-auto. So this is also a 11-second cooldown, so the moment that he's forced to use Q on you, he's no longer able to use Q on the minions, and then you can just pressure him off with autos. So we'll see how you play this out afterwards. Alright, so you're desyncing the wave right now. So this is a good E, you have fear available, so you get a free auto in. And shield goes off, but it's fine. But at this point, he's got no Q available, so for the next 11 seconds, this is a window of vulnerability that you have to take advantage of in this matchup. Because if you do that trade, what happens with the G shield?
He heals his HP back up after I just took it.
So you just did 110 damage, but he's going to heal 40 of that back, and then he's also got the passive regen. So even though you got this winning trade, you still have a ranged advantage. You can still auto this guy for free. But every single one of these minions that's low HP, are you in a position to penalize it? No, because you're too far away. So you can auto these minions, but you can also be in a more aggressive position, because even if you're standing right here or here, can he do damage to you? No, because he doesn't have access to range skills yet. So the entire concept of behind your minions right here is incorrect. Once again, so this is the third auto. This is the third minion that he's gone for free because you are not actively punishing him. So when you're playing in the melees, especially this Vex, this is like the easiest way to gain control of the game. So at this point, we're losing the minion for free. That's called minion sequencing. You want to just make a decision on like how you're going to proceed in order. So you chose to hit him first and then the minion, which is why you lost it. But you definitely could have just done a reverse order. Alright, so at this point, you haven't used your ward yet. You haven't really done a level 2 push either yet. We do know where the enemy jungle is pathing towards because we saw them path from bot side. So at this point, what kind of champion is Vi?
Actually, I don't even know.
She's an early game champion for the most part. Like, she does scale pretty decently. But she's aggressive, right? So she wants to do aggressive clear. So she's not going to do a full clear. She's not going to do Ren to Crux. She's immediately going to head into her top side. So the fact that she's even doing wolves is wrong because she's not going to hit level 3 off of blue buff, which means she now has to do red, wolves, blue, and to Gromp to hit 3. So this could potentially impact that top side crab. But because we know that she's on top side, what position or what side of the lane should we be playing on?
Towards the bottom side.
Exactly. So this makes it harder for her to engage with Q. Makes it safer for you. But at this point, you have you really just want to pressure level 2 here. Like, if I was you in this situation, I would be standing between him and the minion wave at this point.
Yeah.
But you keep giving him this wide amount of range, like this burf, and it's not enabling you, and it's also not punishing him. So at this point, you have to understand, like, if you're playing a melee versus range matchup, you have to change your mental state on how this goes. You have the sustain necessary. You have 3 corrupting potions. It's okay for you to play aggressively. It doesn't matter if you take bad trades as long as you're creating a situation where he's not able to play the game. Because we already talked about what his win con is, which is scaling. Is he getting the farm for free right now?
Yes.
100%. So are we stopping him from his win con?
No.
Not at all. Now at this point, you've created an opportunity so that you slow push the wave, and now there's a large amount of minions under tower. So this gives you multiple options. You can either go look for a ward. You can cheater recall. Technically, this is not an ideal cheater recall since cannon wave's coming in. Or every single one of these minions that's low HP, you want to walk up and make sure that you're autoing them off of every single one of them. So the moment he's forced to use Q a single time, he no longer has the ability to kill all of these without going in auto range. So you just want to make sure that when he walks up, we're in a position to punish that. So at this point, you keep giving him too much respect. So you disengaging here is making it easier for him to access the wave. Literally just hit the S button, stand right here.
Okay.
So the thing you have to remember is that your champion positioning is what enables your range, right? So this is hypothetically your attack range, and then you have your skill range, which goes a little bit longer. But every time that you walk away here, are these lines overlapping with the enemy?
No.
No. So you're giving him access to this wave for free. If you were standing right here, then your auto range would be right here, and your skill range would be right here, and now it's more of a threat. So just these natural positioning mistakes are giving up a lot of pressure in the wave, and that's why he's able to just sustain out here. So at this point, if you go ward bot side, it's purely because you don't understand. Like, we identified where she started. We know what she wants to do. All of this was available information from level 1. So the fact that we even place a ward right here is because we did not go into this game with our brain enabled. Because we talked about autopiloting, right? Like, you have to have a general idea of what you want to like fact check and stuff like that, or what you want to address. You address the matchup. You look at where the jungle's starting, and these are all things that you should be doing, like kind of part of your instincts, second nature, muscle memory. So you see the issue now, right? He's able to play this lane out. He's got a 4 CS advantage on you, and this is not because he's playing well. This is just because we're playing inoptimally.
Okay.
So that entire time that we went to get this ward, was he able to farm that way for free?
Yes.
100%. Now, I agree with you. That's a good war timer. You're not losing anything to do it.
It's just on the wrong side of the map.
It's the wrong side of the map, and it's also not achieving anything right now because when is Vi's early skank going to be? Like 245, right?
Yeah.
So if we assume that she does a 3 camp, it's still 245. And we know that we want to play for Crab at 315. So we crashed wave on 2. We didn't get any pressure at all. He still has 1 potion available, and he's full HP. So we can kind of assume that we've massively misplayed this game. And at this point, we've given him the tools to succeed, even though we had the chance to deny it. So we're full mana right now. This guy's walking up into Q range of you. There's no reason to be afraid. So this is good. You see how he's walking up to auto and you're pressuring off of this? So at this point, there's no reason to be afraid. Like, you can use your Q. You can do more damage. Because if he uses his Q here, the trade is over for him, right? So what happens if we keep running him down and adding an auto in every time?
It'll just take more damage.
Yeah, so we can add an extra 120 damage while he's trying to get back to the safety of his tower, because the soonest he can do damage back to us is 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So unless we give him a chance to go melee range, this is an entire opportunity to just do half of his health for free. But you increasing the range when he's got no tools to keep the fight going is a mistake. And then you're also holding on your skills. Like, you have Mistral Bullet, you're just choosing not to use it. So at this point, it's the exact same scenario. We know that he wants this minion. This is called a last hit window. if we know where he's heading, and if this is a telegraph movement, how do we create a situation where we punish that?
Walk up.
Yeah, just put yourself in a position where he's forced to trade for it. Because if I move away here, he gets that minion for free. If I move in, he's now forced to make a 50-50 decision, which is I take the minion and I get hit, or I lose the minion and I don't get hit. So that is a win-win, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're forcing a situation that's favorable to you no matter what. So you auto the minion there, so now we're losing damage. We missed the Q, so this guy, once again, the bright lining here is like what's happening with your wave state.
It's pushing back into me.
Now, this is problematic because did we make a general assessment about where this game's heading?
Yes.
Okay, so if we lose at Crab, it is partially because we are losing priority right now. So freezing the lane's great. Like, this is perfect. If you guys are not fighting for the Crab, you should always be doing this, because if you're trading Crab, this guy would not be able to play the game for the next 2 minutes. But if we are playing to fight Crab and we're not able to move, then it's an issue.
Gotcha.
So at this point, we are hovering on the right side of the lane. You're playing around your vision. Now, it might be for the wrong reasons, but it's all good. At this point, as long as you hold your W, you can interrupt her Q with your personal space. So there's no reason to... Technically, this is fine, like you're making it to where there's no chance at all.
Yeah.
But you could literally just walk in a straight line and press W and you're out. Because if you get zoned off the wave here, can they crash this?
Yes.
So at this point, if I'm Vi, I Q this minion wave, I'm now losing 6 minions, and I'm forced to walk all the way around. Now at this point, this is ideal for us, so this is actually a winning play because of this mistake. So she's got no Q, and we have a collapse, and she's playing for bot side scuttle.
But, this is the point, I don't even see the Shyvana here on my map at all.
Okay.
It wasn't... It was just something I just didn't see.
So reasonably, like, nobody pinged, like, I get it, but you have to be looking at your mini-map ever so often. Like, right now, we're down 7 CS in, like, a winning laning phase. Like, obviously, he outscales, and his champion's nightmare to deal with, but you shouldn't be this far behind. And then, we're turning on the Kassadin here instead of collapsing on the Vi, so now she's in a 1 versus 1 situation, and she loses that 1v1. If I were you, I would just continue collapsing here, or I'd flash over the wall, personal space, and she's dead.
Okay.
So at this point, we're playing on 2 fronts, we're separated. And at this point, not the worst. I mean, we lose cannon, which is pretty awful. But it should have been a kill, and then she's 100%, she's over chasing here. So flash for flash.
I was hoping to interrupt the queue here.
Sorry, accidentally. Oh no.
Oh.
So 100% turning on the Vi there was the correct decision. You don't ever have enough damage to kill Kassadin because he has D-Shield, which adds another 80 health. Got 39 magic resist and passive. So going for him to begin with is incorrect. This entire chain of sequences is just like really bad. And at this point, we're doomed because we don't have prio top, we don't have prio mid, we don't have prio bottom. So your jungle has effectively lost the game right now because she is getting double scuttled. Scuttle Crab is equivalent to a small camp, if not a little bit more. It's like 1.3 XP worth. So if Shyvana goes for topside Crab, she just loses. I really hope that she doesn't go for this, yeah.
No, this is exactly what happens.
So this is an illegal play, but all of this is stemming from the fact that you misplayed your lane.
Yes.
So this was completely avoidable had you played correctly. Now, is Shyvana playing correctly? No, she's complete trash. But the only controllable factor in this game was you, and you were definitely capable of creating a bigger impact on this by either playing your lane correctly or by target acquisition correctly here. So this guy's 100% dead because he has no flash. Kassadin's broken, honestly. There should not be a champion in the game that is literally basically unkillable in lane phase and also has the best scaling in the game, but also wins at level 6. It just makes no sense. So at this point, you're running back mid. This guy is TP. Wave-wise, who's this pushing to?
6, yeah, towards blue side.
So it's pushing towards blue side, which means this is bad for you, because even though you have flash, is this a vulnerable position for you to be in on this side of the map?
Well, yes.
100%, because you have a losing jungle. when you have a losing jungle, the game feels really bad to play because you're not able to play as aggressively as you would like to. So at this point, he TP's back in. You both reset. Don't ever buy 2 pink wards.
Okay.
So buying pinks is great, but spending 150 gold in one go is delaying your core components. Because like 75 gold is basically 1/5 of an amp tome, right? So you actually are delaying your item spikes by buying double pinks. Because next reset, you're down just 75 gold straight up.
Okay.
And it's not like you're saving anything by doing so right now, you just need the 1. But all things considered, how do we rectify this situation?
Push this wave on.
100%. So he keeps using his skills to trade. At this point, we know he has nothing to do. Like, he can't touch us at all with his cooldowns being 5 seconds and whatever independently. So focusing the wave here is the best thing that we can do. Using your W to clear minions is always like really inefficient because it's a long cooldown and it costs the most mana out of all your skills. So you want to just make sure that when you're farming, you're not creating a situation where you're forced to W because you messed up. But we're currently 30 CS at 22. Items wise, he's got 38 AP, we have 24. We're a little bit behind in terms of just combat stats. And then once he hits level 6, we technically lose. So all things considered, this is kind of a nightmare situation. I'd be really nervous if I was you. This pink ward isn't really optimal. I
had in mind that it was warded there because of that last fight.
You were in that bush though, so you would know if it's warded or not. The other thing is you're placing this ward and then you're going for the gank play through Shrine. So they already know that you're heading there through Shrine. The only way that this would work is if your team's able to stop them, but do they have the resources to do that? No. So technically, Camille's in base. She has no TP. Graves has TP. He can answer this. This is just a very, very like coin flip play. And they can also just
tilt play,
yeah, and they can also just clear this ward instantly. If you were gonna pink ward, I would always pink ward right here.
Okay.
This is just because it covers the entrance, it protects your bot lane from a river gank, and also defends this choke. But putting your pink ward right here, it's just a one-trick ward that only does this. That's all. Like, Vi can go through bushes, so this is a reasonable play to be concerned about, but you could also just place a ward here, and that covers all of these avenues as well. So at this point, we're rotating down for this play. They spot you immediately.
Yep, and they back off.
Your team isn't able to do anything.
No.
So
I still go as I see Braum very low HP and I'm tilted.
okay, so that's not what you want to do. Like, you should just be playing for level 6 at this point. So you're not accomplishing anything right now. You have to understand that you roamed. Go and check the timer that you roamed on. So you're correct for roaming here. This is a roam timer, right? Like, you're not losing much. This is an ideal ward timer because there's not many minions. But because you're committing more time than necessary, you're now going to lose a lot of minions for leaving.
Gotcha.
So all Caston has to do here is push. You don't have TP, so you're losing 7 minions. You're losing 3 cannons. You're losing 3 ranged, and you're losing a cannon. So how much is a melee worth?
21.
Okay, so we're losing 63 gold, and then how much is a ranged worth?
I believe 18? I'm
14,
sure.
7 gold less.
Gotcha.
So we're losing about 50 gold, whatever. So altogether, we're losing 200 gold for this roam, and at most we would get 600 gold from this, or 300 if we get 1 kill. So we're basically just semi-cucking ourselves right now. Now, not the worst situation, like we do get a gank that recovers. We ended up getting 3 of those range minions. But we're behind in experience now, is what like the actual travesty here. So we're an entire level down almost. Which is really suboptimal because what is the bread maker of our champion? Our ultimate. So we can still win laning phase through our level 1 through 5, but ultimate is what really enables like 90% of our gameplay, especially roams. So delaying this so that you can do like a fruitless gank is just like the definition of putting yourself behind for no reason. So you see how you've placed both of these wards and they've both been cleared instantly? So technically it's 150 gold that, while it did prevent this gank right here, you're placing a ward that is defendable, so it's not the worst. It's just that this is still really poor positioning because it's a wonky ward. So at this point, your team just has to collapse on this.
Yeah,
So
they don't ever, and I get pressured off by Cassidon.
I mean, you don't get pressured off, like, you let yourself get pressured here. Like, if you literally just walked in from here and forced Braum towards your teammates, it's ideal. Like, Casting can engage on you, but you have W, so you just turn it on him instantly, because you have Ignite advantage. So
In my mind, Braum just W's onto the Cassidon, though, and just straight up freezes me straight into a kill.
You still have fear on personal space. So you going over the wall here is incorrect, because now you're disjointed from your team. How do you get over this wall? You have to flash, you hit the ult.
Mm-hmm.
So you see how it's taking you longer to get into this play because you're out of position.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, we lost the ward, we got their ward. Not ideal, but it's all good. So, we're going for a roam play here. You did crash your wave technically again, so... all things considered, this is a really ambitious play. If you're going to ult, it has to be from Fog of War, which you did do.
Yes.
It's just that this is a champion that has 2 mobility skills, which is his E and his R. So using your ultimate before somebody has used their disengage skill is just asking to get dodged. So you're trading a 130-second cooldown for a 16-second resettable, like, basic ability. So this is a bit of a desperation play. I was going to watch that back again. So you can wait for the stun before you ult, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially, like, if she pops ult as well, then that guarantees they have a better chance. But this is a very, very, like, ambitious ultimate. I don't mind it per se, because you guys do need to make something happen. It's just, if you continue to use your skills like that, you're disabling your own opportunities for the next 2 minutes. At this point, like, can you do anything for the next 2 minutes while your ult's down? Not really. Like, you don't have a winning 1 versus 1. So your jungle no longer has a 2v2 opportunity. Your jungle is super behind anyways, so this game's a little bit of a tragedy, so to speak. But we get back mid. First thing you're going to do here is, because we see that Cassidon is missing, we have to hard shove this. The reason why we hard shove this is so that he loses this wave. This isn't really too bad for you, because even if you get ganked off of this position, you're not going to die since you have flash.
Mm-hmm.
Understandably, there's a lot of situations on Vex, like if you're playing into a TF Galio or like a really aggressive jungle like Vi, where the idea is that if you're having to cancel somebody's roam, so like when somebody roams, you want to push wave so they lose something. Yes. Or if you want to deny somebody from roaming, you have to keep them pushed in. This makes you vulnerable to a gank, so if at any point they could just come in from the side here and press R and you're dead. And that's why Vexes typically have a lot of trouble in solo queue, is they just don't know how to deal with ganks like that. So them having 2 people missing off the map, we don't know where Vi or Cassidon is. This is considered dangerous, but as long as you just fast push this with Looming Darkness and Mistral Bolt and leave, you're good to go. But technically, you probably would want to place your ward before you do something like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even now, like, this wave is guaranteed to push in. You still don't have vision of Vi, so you going in right now, you should 100% die for this.
Yes.
There's no reason to play like this. Like, you don't ever beat him 1 versus 1 anyways. You don't have ultimate. If I was this Cassidon, I would press R on you right now, and you would 100% be forced to flash, because look at the distance between you and tower. You don't ever win this. So you getting the crash in is meaningless, because was it already going to push in?
Mm-hmm.
Now, he can technically freeze it, but like, you still accomplished your goal, and you can just max range farm with Mistral Bolt.
Okay.
So Vi comes a little bit late to this timer. This is probably the worst call I've ever seen in my life. It's 8:30. Your jungle's still not level 6. You do a bot lane prio, but you don't ever win this 2 versus 2. So you'd have to quite literally you'd have to lead into this with R, but you don't have R, so this is an unwinnable fight.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of relying on the fact that we have bot lane priority, but we're down ultimates. Vi engages in the back here.
I decided not even go for the fight because of the wave. I don't know if I pinged off or not, but
I don't think it matters, because this was incorrect to begin with. Enabling bad plays is really, like, if you come here, they feel more confident in doing this, and then you guys die anyways.
Okay.
You get the Vi, that was pretty much the best you could have done in that context anyways. But we see Kassadin on vision, so you just want to make sure you're shoving this lane. Gold-wise, we're doomed. Like, we don't have enough to buy Lost Chapter, we don't have enough to buy Sorcerer's Shoes, so we're just perma-stuck here. This is really miserable. But 90% of this is just stemming from your level 1 through 4, which is something that's easily fixable. Jungle tracking is something that anybody can work on individually, and that's something that you have to get used to, is identifying where they start, where they're heading, and what their goals are.
Yeah.
And then other things are just minor mistakes. I just think that your laning phase is really, it's very inconsistent right now with the way that you're trading.
Yeah. Man, this is my first time playing against this cast in the matchup as well, so I know I was gonna make some mistakes going into this game.
Yeah.
I just end up just getting punished.
Because in this situation, like, you're down 1,000 gold. Like, he hasn't spent that money, but this is Lost Chapter versus a Sapphire and a Dark Seal and Corrupting.
Yeah.
So when you go for Corrupting Potion, you've already solved your mana issues, so the fact that you're building Sapphire Crystal is also delaying your damage even more so than it already is. So if you're going to build into Lost Chapter, I definitely recommend going for the Amp Tomes first. If you're
at exactly 350 here.
Okay, so if the reason why you had 350 is because you bought double pinks. How tragic is that?
Very.
It's very tragic. Also, you could just not reset if you don't have enough gold, so that's something you can consider as well.
I believe I reset because of low HP.
Okay.
I'm not totally sure.
I'm not going to invest too much time on that. Alright, so we're heading back mid lane. It's currently, he's just got an additional 100 AP on you right now, so this is 98 AP versus 44. His champion just beats you straight up 1 versus 1 now. Once he gets Everfrost, the game is unplayable.
Yeah.
And then
I just walks up on ultimate here.
Yeah. So at this point, you don't have an option. Even if you flash, you still die since it follows.
Yeah.
And the reason why you're forced to do this is because your wave is slow pushing. So you're trying to fix this. But if you know that you're going to be in a vulnerable position, we don't have any vision. So we don't have any wards. So going for this, like, you have to just play really respectfully. You're way too far up right now.
Okay. So I should just concede the minions here then?
I mean, the moment that he was melee range, if you're melees, like, he just threatens ult and you lose anyways, so.
Okay.
Going for the auto there to begin with was the mistake. But we do actually get a double kill bottom, so the game isn't hopeless. Xayah ult, like, hard counters after their team. It's just that everyone else on our team is super far behind. And I think we'll go into like 15 minutes here. But we get back to lane right now. We're 2 levels down. We don't really have a way to ever beat the cast in 1 versus 1, so the only thing that we can do in this situation is just scale, right?
Yeah.
Now, the issue is that our win condition is skirmishing. We never got to skirmish this game. This guy's win condition is scaling. So we're now competing on the field that he's better at, which means he's getting a 10 times more value. Now, as Vex champion, we can still win mid to late game team fights by getting insane like ultimates. It's just that playing a scaling game versus a Kassadin and a Felios is a awful, awful, awful feeling. So it's a little bit of a mentality shift, knowing that you're just competing into a champion that wins automatically at level 16. And this is one of the reasons why I despise this champion. I think this is such an unfun condition that you automatically lose at level 16. Because even if the Kassadin's awful, you're always going to be thinking in your head, I'm on a clock.
Yeah.
The entire game you're thinking, if we don't execute or end this game properly, eventually we're going to lose. And that's like the worst mental state to be in. Because you feel pressured all the time. Once again, so we're casting ultimate from really long range. So this is something that is associated with tempo. This is something I've told you before. But in this situation, is he collapsed on?
Yes.
Okay, so in this context, all you have to do is keep moving. If you're trying to max long range ults, it has to be on a CC target.
Okay.
So right now, ulting the Felios here,
okay.
but because you're forcing it from max range, you see how it gives him more chances to like dodge it. Because the range at level 10 or level 6 is 2,000. When you get to rank 11, it goes up to 2,500. So leading at max range here when they have mobility skills still available. Because you had flash here, so at any given point you could just flash EQ'd and then ulted off of that.
Yeah.
But you're being super
if I
greedy
ulted
with your
the
skills. Yeah.
Okay.
Because this is massively different. If you had ultimate still, this is like completely winnable.
Okay.
Unlucky. It's like you're not wrong to reset. Like the play is 100% over, so going to go... It's just really greedy is what your teammates are doing. You recalling is also really awful because you take a look at your gold, you still have enough for blasting Wonder Sork boots. So the only thing you could buy there is a Null Mantle. So you'd be forced to sell C-Pot, which is not really efficient at this stage of the game.
I was hoping Vi would come in here to try to
Okay.
invade. It was straight up a...
Even then, like, there's no reason to be doing this because you still have to go get that money for your reset. So you either have to go mid here, or you have to catch bottom. You can't just be standing here doing nothing.
Yeah.
So if
I
you
decided to go mid.
Yeah, so if you lose any minions here, it's purely because you're just doing nothing.
I think I was 1.
So you lose 2 minions, you lose 3 minions. So you lost 5 minions off of your decision to just stand in a bush and protect your Shyvana. So we're now in a situation where our recall is delayed even longer. Which takes it... It's just Pepega for the most part. Wave clear at this point, you found your optimal reset timer. There's nothing more that you can achieve in this position, you just have to reset. So, wave is killed, next wave is all the way over here, it's a cannon wave, which means it's going to take longer to go into your tower. I don't care that we're doing dragon here. We're behind, there's no reason to be doing second dragon like this on vision. So, this is just grief. You guys actually, wow, is this real life? Okay.
It's platinum play right here.
Okay. So casting gets shoved out of lane.
It's just a word.
You get a really nice fear here, which interrupts your Q. You do get the shutdown, which is massive. That is so good for you because now you're even closer to Ludens. But at this point, the fight's winnable. You have to engage here. This is a 2 versus 3.
I don't have ult, nor I don't think I have any abilities here.
Doesn't matter. You guys have to take dragon. Then if you can find a 2 versus 2, you always take it here.
Gotcha.
So this Nami wave isn't ideal. It does find Aphelios, but this is extremely winnable fight. And the reason why we're forcing this play, even though it might not seem like a great idea on paper, we're down a lot of gold into a scaling composition. We don't have the
luxury of time.
We don't have the luxury of time. We have to make decisions and we have to pull the trigger. Caston's off the map, Graves is off the map, Vi's off the map. That is a 2v4. You have to just pull the trigger. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but at least we took the shot at like a winnable fight. So at this point, you pushing mid's really great here because you're now able to get a reset timer.
Yep,
oh my god, please do not. Okay, so you have 2,030 gold. You can sell. Actually, you just straight up have enough gold for Ludens, so...
Yeah.
This is such a massive mistake. This is sinful right now. Like, if you were on my League of Legends team, I would fire you for this. So, yes, is this a gankable window? Yes.
Yes.
Do you have 2,000 gold in your inventory?
Yes.
Okay. So, if nothing happens here and you don't get this kill, do you understand how much of a time waste this is?
Oh, yeah, no, it's an absolute time waste. I don't get the kill here. I think Camille actually dies. Yeah. Oh, no, I actually do get the kill.
Okay, so you actually got down. Shutdown.
Okay.
So the shutdown's worth it. Shutdown's totally worth it.
I don't know why I'm walking up with a wave here.
Yeah, at this point, you just reset. Like, you've already guaranteed
That's what I said to myself.
Technically, we should have reset, like, 45 seconds ago. We'd be on the map already, and we'd be able to contest, like, Scuttle or whatever. It's all good. Like, this is the ideal, like, you're 100% back in the game. You can actually 1v9 this with 8 Dark Seal stacks. It's just we have to force fights, and we have to force it where we have numbers advantage. So, you matching side lane here is great. You don't have ultimate. Otherwise, I would just straight up ult this guy. But clearing wave is totally good. And the kind of idea is whenever you're playing Vex, you just clear waves, and then you kind of rotate towards your teammates so you can threaten our angle.
I wanted to, but I knew Braum was in that river somewhere, so I didn't want to get collapsed on, but I still get collapsed on here because I'm thinking they all left, since since the Cassino was walking up mid lane, I thought they were all sitting in that brush.
Yeah, but even
By
then,
the mid
like,
lane,
is
not
there a
far.
reason to go for river here?
No,
No.
it was always just
So you just had
farming
to
out behind their towers.
you just had to go for your jungle. So this is just really greeting pathing. Like, they're not threatening the tower at all right now. You have vision on this choke. So playing for the safe route instead, like, you can still initiate ults from here, but this is just like a death bell. So you're giving them a shutdown, which is even worse because they're getting more gold. And then the worst part about this is, like, this is a winnable fight, right? But you being dead means that you're not able to just kill everybody here. So it's really tragic that you die in that situation. Fortunately, Camille gets the 1v1 top. You're just looking for the assassination play. I don't mind this.
No.
The thing is, this guy is shield bone merc treads. You don't ever 1v1 him.
My mind right here, I'm thinking I can get to the tower quicker, and I'm able to just clear this wave and then back off, but I just get collapsed on by the graves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So even in this context, let's go and take a look at objective timers here. Let me move this side real quick.
Only thing coming up is Herald.
So dragon spawning in 2 minutes. Does your Camille have TP?
Yes.
Then your Camille should always be top here. So the fact that she even went bottom is a mistake because you're not able to get to the bomb side of the map without TP. So you being the one to match Graves makes no sense. Getting chunked for half of your HP in this is also really awful. And then you going back into tower here is basically what kills you if you do die.
I didn't realize the tower's HP until I started already going back to it.
Okay. Even then, he just tower dives you. It doesn't matter. Like, the fact that you even pathed back into him when you have no skills. So you don't have fear. You don't have a way of building up fear. So at this point, the fight's already over. You have to leave. You've already lost.
Okay.
So staying for tower, thinking that this tower is going to help you, is just you not respecting the fact that this is already done. So nothing changes. Like, you just straight up die. So at this point, he gets a free kill. Now he gets the friend top tower, and they push for this fight. It's another scenario where you're playing a team fight skirmishing champion, but at every single one of these fights, you're not there because you're getting picked out randomly.
Yes.
So that is not playing towards your champion identity. And then lo and behold, we have to go top lane again when Dragon is the next objective, which is an awful feeling.
Because Camille dies solo to Aphelios.
Yep, but, I mean, you're making equally as many mistakes, so YOLO. So he's actually trying to kill you here. This is insane. But at this point, like, Dragon is spawning in 15, you have to rotate now. Camille's spawning in 10 seconds. She can catch this. She can also TP. It doesn't matter. You just have to be heading to this. If you're going to be playing a teamfight champion, I do not ever want you to be side laning in an unkillable lane when you could be getting tons of kills.
Okay.
Because once again, it's like, is Dragon an additional win condition? It's another way for your team to win in the late game.
Especially for Shyvana.
So not rotating just means that you're giving up on the chance to just snowball. We're giving up momentum so that you can get 6 minions here. So we're just really committed to the side lane even though we have ultimate available. So we weren't at this dragon fight. This was a winnable dragon fight, and you also don't have the ability to match TP, which means he just gets it guaranteed. This entire chain of events was avoidable. All things considered, your team is... like, your guys are close, it's just like it's so difficult to outscale Casa and Aphelios, especially with the Braum shield into your combo late game. It's still winnable from this position, but that's enough time for me today, so I appreciate your time. Do you have any questions, Reds?
Matchup in the Vladimir, I 100% lose the lane, right?
Technically, like, you still have the ability to rotate. It's just a...
Yes.
It's a very one-dimensional matchup. It's he gets ultimate, and then he flash combos you on Q3. That's it.
Okay.
So build a null mantle if you're concerned about getting one-shot in lane, and as long as you don't die, you technically... He's going to outscale you, but you do have better roam potential because your wave clear is better.
Yes.
So you're just purely playing for roams if you're in that matchup. Alright, anything else?
This game, should I have just been straight up looking for picks as soon as I got 6? Like, should I have just farmed to 6 and then look for everything else?
Well, it's always contextual. This game, you just had to play the early laning phase better.
Okay.
You forcing the roam, like, the idea behind the roam is correct. It's just the shrine, right? So, like, you're going into a warded play, which means it's never going to work. So the only way that this play works is if either you have boot move speed, which allows you to get there before they can react, or they're bad at the game. Relying on people making mistakes is like it's an actual thing that you can do. It's just not correct. It's like you made an intentionally wrong play because you were tilted. Even if it is like an option that would work, it doesn't mean that's a good play.
Okay.
So had you waited till 6 or wasted less time, you wouldn't have been behind so much in experience. And the game would have been vastly different had you played this level 1 through 4 differently.
Mm-hmm.
But this is all stuff that you can apply to every other matchup that you play.
Yeah, especially melee matchups.
100%, because it's really just your positioning that is just disabling 90% of your gameplay in the early game.
Mm-hmm.
You're a little bit too afraid, like you have the safety net of your spirit, like you just have a lot of trading tools, you're just not utilizing them to their fullest.
Okay.
All things considered, like you got back into the game, you found some pivotal picks and rotates.
And then into the game.
It's just, yeah. It's a little bit unfortunate. It's just a really hard game to come back from, considering how awfully we started. But level 13 versus level 11, we're still just behind in this 1 versus 1. And we can't ever match this champion, and they have double TP, so they technically do have a split push win con as well. But thanks for your time, man, and I hope that you have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks.